Welcome to Real Money Talks, how to make money, manage money, and invest money. Your Real Money Talks host, Loral gets straight to the point about what it actually takes to make money and build lasting wealth in today's changing economic climate. If you're ready to get the financial results you've always dreamed of, keep listening. Real Money Talks is the right place for you. And now here's your host, Loral Langmeyer.
Welcome back to Loral's Real Money Talks, where we are podcasting about how to make money, keep money, invest money, and the teammates that you need to do this. It's not difficult to become a millionaire in 3 to 5 years, but you have to do it in the right order. So I'm going to continue to bring you different strategies, different tactics, and people who can help you. So today I have with me Doug Walz, who has Text Me Leads. It's a very cool business and the fastest turnaround guy that I've ever seen. In fact, I was at the same show, I don't even know if you know this, Doug, where 3 different people were using your business, and all 3 said you set it up like within the day. So, Doug, welcome to Loral's Real Money Talks.
Thanks, Laurel. It's great to be here.
So talk a little bit just about your kind of background. You've been in business for a long time. How'd you arrive doing this business? And then let's just talk about this as a business, as well as how people with businesses that are listening to the podcast can use your service.
Sure. In business, we end up, we have to educate ourselves. We have to always go out and learn what is new in the market, what's new on the horizon. And by going to these different seminars, teaching events, workshops, I kept hearing the same thing over and over again, especially when it's a really good presenter, is how can we get a copy of your slide deck? And the typical response would be, I can email it to you, give me a business card, see my assistant in the back. Hey, John, can we get that on the website by tomorrow? And it was just this hodgepodge of how to solve that problem or get that slide deck to somebody. And tomorrow, they may not be as interested in it as they are right now. So why can't we just give it to everybody on their phone? Everybody's carrying a smartphone. That's the best way to send it to them. So we came up with the idea of how to simply focus on delivering slide decks. Once we solved that problem, we realized it opened up a Pandora's box of all different types of things that we can deliver, whether it's white papers, the first chapter of your book, the entire book if you want, magazines, whatnot. So we realized that, with the time and effort that a presenter is putting into their lesson and their presentation, they were missing out on that real solid connection with the audience member. You've got somebody that's literally interrupting your presentation and those around them to ask for more information from you. So when they're asking for the specific slide deck, you've got somebody that's really resonating with your message. Why not make a connection with them right then and there? Don't wait until later. And that allows you to really dial in on who you're following up with after the event. So that's how we got started with the whole thing.
That's awesome. And so so talk a little bit more about just the business. I mean, I always like to teach people how to monetize a business. So if they're interested in, not that I'm asking to go get competition out there, but people are listening from all over the world and lots of different countries. Having traveled all over the world, they operate almost exclusively, some of these countries, on mobile devices and not desktops. So texting has become very, very, very critical. How do you monetize in this business?
So what we've done is we've been able to go out and connect a few dots that weren't connected before with different types of vendors. So we've got different platforms on those that provide the actual texting programming and work with the carriers. We've also got other data capture CRM systems that we integrate as well. So how we've been able to monetize that is by going out and getting the larger packages that most businesses aren't going to be able to afford, and then we break it down into bite-sized chunks especially for the smaller businesses. Allowing them to purchase it in smaller bite-sized chunks to enable the lead generation, the lead capture, and the follow-up that they need for each one of their businesses. We'll package, instead of packaging just text messages, and this is one thing that we really wanted to focus on, is not becoming a text messaging and SMS commodity where our customers were pricing us against another SMS provider, because we don't see necessarily ourselves as an SMS provider. We see ourselves as a problem-solving company for speakers, authors, and influencers. So what are the problems that they have? And this is something that kind of follows into your question about how to monetize it, is you're monetizing by solving somebody else's problem. We noticed that they were having a disconnect with their audience, whether it was the slide deck, which I just mentioned, or getting a book out to them, or making sure that they were accurately put into a CRM system so that they could follow up. Sometimes if cards are filled out, they all have to be put in by hand, and you know that sometimes not everybody has legible handwriting.
Exactly. So, I like that you're going through the differences and the distinctions, because I think that so many people see and use texting, like you said, as a commodity. So those who are unfamiliar with, we use it frequently for, confirming programs, see you tomorrow, see you next week. So talk again about the distinctions, because what you're doing is really providing content through your text links than doing, I think, like you said, what the commodity service does.
Yeah, so there's a lot of services that, or let me step back a second. The way it was used before, the way SMS was originally used, let's say maybe 5 years ago, maybe even further back, was you'd text in the code from whatever the offer was made from stage. Then the next message was, text in your first name. Thank you, John, for texting in. Now send us your email address. And then you email that, you text that in, and the response then is, we're going to email you whatever it was that you were just asking for. So there's a couple disconnects that happen right away. One, I don't know how many questions the system is now getting ready to ask me. So there's a little bit of a barrier because I'm confused. And you know the saying, the confused mind always says no. So if you have a level of confusion in just the first question, how motivated are you to get to the last question in that list, especially when you don't know how many questions there are? So what we do is we immediately get them onto a link that takes them to a mobile web page. So you have a form, which is a familiar interface that we all use because we all filled out an opt-in form. And you can see that there's only 2 questions that we're asking. What's your first name or last name, and what's your email address? Hit submit, and boom, you're right on to getting the deliverable that you're looking for. The second is, if you're texting in or requesting some information during an event like that, you want it right away. You don't necessarily want a response to come back and say, check your email in about 10 or 15 minutes for the deliverable for your gift. So anyhow, those are some disconnects that we saw and that we solved, and I think it works really well. And so if anybody is using a texting service, whether it's ours or somebody else's, please do yourself a favor and work towards getting your customers and your audience onto a interface that they are comfortable with and looks familiar to them, so that they see exactly what you're asking, and they know exactly what they need to put in.
That's awesome. So let's try it out right now. I know you've set one up for us. And again, those of you that want to talk to Doug more personally, you can go to askloral.com. Put in your name, phone number, and email. Say, I want to talk to Doug, the text me leads guy, and interview him myself, learn more, so you can connect with him that way. And we're going to put this link in there so you can text, but we're also going to do it right now. So Doug, lead us through that. So we're going to see how many of you go ahead and do it. We'll see those of you out there, and if you want to pass it on, you can head over to askloral.com as well.
Sure. Thank you. So what we're going to do is everybody's going to grab their cell phone. You're going to start a new text message, and you're going to send it to 55678. 55678. And just for clarification, this is for U.S.-based cell phones. If you are a Canadian resident, I have a different number for you because they all work off of different carriers. The Canadian number is going to be 70734. 70734. Now, once you got the phone number in the top, the address part where you normally text to your family or member, you put their cell phone number in there. That's where you're putting the short number in. The message that you're going to send is Loral, Loral. And once you put that in, simply hit send. You'll get a responding message coming back with a link. And the rest should be self-explanatory as they get there. We'll have get you to a demo page. You can see all the different ways that texting has been used by different companies, different speakers, authors, and trainers. And we can continue the conversation there.
That's awesome. So let's talk, how do you get your clients? I know that I see you in tons and tons of events, but are you like seeking out those that are listening that are speaker authors? I guess, I coach a lot of them. So those that are listening, this would be a good service for you. But how else, just from, again, how you run your business, are you getting them through LinkedIn? Are you just going to events? How do you get your clients?
Right now, almost all of our clients are coming in through referrals from other people, events that we have been at, sponsored, spoke at, those types of events. We have that's really, in a nutshell, the majority of how we're getting a lot of our clients.
Interesting. So talk about the most complex text problem that you've solved. And let's talk through some of the different, not only problems that you're seeing as you have, in, like you said, from the slide decks are clearly, I think, the number one, but what other, problems have you seen, not only speakers, authors, trainers, consultants have, and how texting can be of a solution for them? Well,
let me share the most creative one that we got. And this was very early on when we launched the company. I had some beta testers out there, and one of my friends was at an event in Las Vegas. And as any speaker knows, at some point there's going to be an issue with the AV equipment. Well, they could not get the projector to go. Then she realized that she had just set up her system with us, with Text Me Leads, and she says, you know what, everybody, you have a screen in your hand. Pull out your phones, text this code to this number, and let's get on with the presentation. So she didn't have to rely on faulty AV equipment. She put her slide deck on everybody's phone in that room, and they all just kind of flipped through, and they were able to follow along, and she got on with her business. In the middle of the presentation, the fire alarm goes off. Everybody has to evacuate. She's now out on the back patio of the hotel, and she gathers everybody up. She says, "We're not done. Grab your phones. Let's get back to this." And so they were able to
awesome.
to be creative with that, and she absolutely loved it. The other thing that has come up, there's two other techniques or creative ways that we've seen this used. One is, I got a phone call one day, and the gentleman said, I've been told that you're a solution for me on a problem that I've got coming up with the presentation. I do really good social media work. I've got a 45-minute presentation. I'm going to be speaking in front of 300 people in a couple days. How do I get my message out to them? And oh, by the way, my problem is that they've only given me 5 minutes to speak, and it's a take it or leave it slot. And I said, here's what you're going to do. You're going to spend 4 minutes explaining to your audience why you're the best person that they need to be connected with for social media, and why your product presentation, your service, your team that you've put together is the team that they need to be connecting with. And the last minute of the presentation is, and you're going to text into this code and this number, and you're all going to be registered. Anybody that texts in will be registered. Somebody is going to win a free social media makeover. That 5-minute speech earned him $14,000 simply by following up on the people who texted in on that campaign.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what about the people? I have one last question, because I know we're running right at the end of our podcast, and I could ask you a whole bunch more questions, especially international. But I think we'll just have you back to have that conversation. One quick last one I know is, what happens if, like in the situation with that woman, if the Wi-Fi or the internet wouldn't be working, or just people aren't that technical? How have you kind of handled those situations?
So we've had we have had some technical barriers at times, depending on the venue. Mostly, you have enough of a cell signal in almost any venue to get the text message back and forth. The bottleneck happens when you don't have enough of a signal to get a lot of data on a web page. So the only place that I've really run into a massive problem with that is when we've done events in it was in downtown LA, and it was in a basement. And that was the only time that we've really had a problem with getting the text messages in or out, because we were so isolated underground. Other than that, there's almost always been enough cell signal to be able to get the signal back and forth. And then the only other So then there's been user error where they've texted in the wrong spelling of a word. So we always coach our clients to make sure you've got a short, memorable, even if it's an acronym, if you have to do that just to shorten it, that's really useful. And then technically, as far as service providers, we have found that those audience members who are on a Sprint platform, for some reason, Sprint has a system-wide block on SMS codes, on shortness. And there's a couple different ideas as to why they've done that, but bottom line is, if you are a Sprint customer, go into your settings on a web page and look for the area of security. In fact, if you simply Google SMS and Sprint SMS codes blocked on Sprint, that should get you to a help page. That's really helpful, because it is so frustrating to those users of that network when they're in an event. But almost 99% of the time, the people that can't get something through, it's because of that particular platform.
Wow, interesting.
Otherwise, it's been just a rock solid system.
Yeah, I look forward to working with you on it. So we need to roll. We're at the top of our podcast. Doug, I appreciate your knowledge, your information. And those of you, again, you want to be in this business or you want to use the service, go to AskLoral.com, put in your name, phone number, email, say, I want to talk directly to Doug Walz. And Doug, if they want to contact you, what's your website?
TextMeLeads.com.
Leads.com. That's so simple. How'd you ever get that one? That's a whole nother conversation, I'm sure. So you've been listening to Loral's Real Money Talks. Doug, thank you, and thanks for your time. Those of you, pass our podcasts around. If you're enjoying them, we want to grow the list of listeners and people who want to be millionaires, because that's our community and our conversation. We'll be back in touch. Talk soon.
Thank you for joining Loral for this segment of Real Money Talks, how to make money, manage money, and invest money. To continue this new conversation and to find free resources to support your wealth creation, visit askloral.com/podcast gifts. That's ASKLORAL.com/podcast gifts. Thanks for listening, and join us again soon. New episodes are released every week.